All right, welcome into Market Day Report. I'm Scott Schulte, otherwise known as the Cow Guy. Thank you very much for tuning us in. And that's at Scott the Cow Guy on Twitter if you want to, or X, I think it's now, right? If you want to see what I'm doing and what I'm up to, I put out stuff. I put out my show. That's another one you're going to want to take a look at. That's the top of this hour. 1 Central, 2 Eastern. It's the Cow Guy Close. We're having a lot of fun. We touch a lot of great subjects, all the ones that I know you want us to touch. And then if you can text us what you want to see, we actually put some of those things on air as well. That's the Cow Guy Close, 1 Central, 2 Eastern, Monday through Friday, and that's going to be in about 16 minutes from right now. Let's take a look and see what we've got going on in these markets. It's the last time we're going to see each other, so let's make sure everybody's on the same page. And we're about 2 3/4 cents better in that D's corn. Look at that, 4.84 1/4 last. We've been here all day long. We've been flitting about between 4.83 and 4.85, so we can't get too excited. But we're up between 2 3/4 and 3 cents across the board when it comes to corn. D's corn, 4.84 1/4 last, 2 3/4 cents better on the day, and we've had a 10-cent range, 4.78 to 4.88 3/4. There you go. Soybeans, this one's lower by 4.5 cents. This is coming back a little bit, folks. 13.64 3/4 is last. We're about 8 cents. No, that's about 12 cents from the high, and about 6 cents from the low. We had been lower here. 4.5 cents lower. 13.64 3/4 is last. That's November beans. Let's take a look and see what we've got going on in wheat. This is the Chicago wheat market. That's up 2 3/4 cents, 5.98 1/4 last. It's good to see it up 2 3/4 cents, but it's bad to see us lose that 6 handle. I don't like it. We lost it on Friday. We still can't get it back. 5.98 1/4 last there. And again, we've had about a 13-cent range. These ranges are getting a little bit tighter as we get into harvest season. How about hard red wheat in Kansas City? That D's contract is sharply unchanged. There you go, 7.22 3/4. And that's pretty much, we've had, what, a 18-cent range? We're pretty much in the middle of the day's range there by about, say, we're 10 cents from the lows and 8 cents from the highs. There you go. Not a lot going on. It now just ticked higher. 7.23 last, up just 1 tick on the day. Spring wheat in Minneapolis, let's take a look at that. Well, that's 3 1/4 cents better. I'm going to say this is just solidly lackluster. Deese is up 3 1/4 cents to 7.63. That's spring wheat in Minneapolis. That's the Deese contract. And again, we've had about a 13-cent range, maybe 12 to 13-cent range. And we're 7 cents from the bottom and about, 6 cents from the top. There you go. That's spring wheat. And then finally, let's get to cotton. This one's been lower, a lot lower, but it still is, it's come back. 127 points lower is where we stand right now. But we were all the way another 140 points lower than we're at this moment in time. So there you go. We've come back almost half of that move. So 127 points lower. Deese cotton, 88.68, and that gives me 2 minutes to bring back in our next guest analyst. That's the last one for the day. He's back at batting cleanup, so he's got all the smart things to say. Let's bring in Ted Seifried from Zaner Ag Hedge. Ted, thanks for being on. All right, pressure's on. You got to tell us something the 9 other people before you haven't said yet.
Always, Scott. But, I like how you said solidly lackluster, which, aside from your jacket, is very true today.
There you go.
It's kind of eerily quiet for a day after a 3-day holiday weekend that was full of weather and full of news with bombing ports and things like that. Although I do feel like the market has kind of gotten a bit jaded to a lot of these same news stories and weather stories that we can talk about throughout this growing season. So, corn has a size range outside of Friday's range, as expected, because Friday's range was really tight. However, we look like we're going to close in the middle of that range. So not giving us really any good sense of direction. As you mentioned, beans were down fairly solidly, but have been drifting back towards unchanged as we get closer to the close. So a whole lot of a nothing burger here today, Scott. And, I don't love cliches, but one of the cliches that I do think is interesting is they say don't sell a quiet market. However, I don't know if I feel like this is the case this time. I really do feel like with all the weather and the news of Russia-Ukraine over the weekend and with crude oil being sharply higher today, I think grains really should be sharply higher. And the fact that they're not makes you really worry that this weather issue is not something that your professional traders are really taking note of, or they just feel like we're beyond the time frame where this is an actual factor for the crops or not. We'll have to see when combines roll. But the fact that we're not getting that positive price action, given a lot of bullish factors, is a bit of a problem.
I agree. I've said it more than once today, on air and off air. It's either telling us that we have no demand, or we have the corn and beans. I mean, that's what it's telling me. I mean, I should get, it's when the market's trading this way, you have to take a step back and maybe listen to it, right? That's what I want to say. So we'll see. But I agree with you 100%. All right, let's stay right there. We're going to go away. We're going to pay some bills. We're going to come back and talk more with Ted Seifried, Zaner Ag Hedge. We're going to talk about livestock next after this. All right, welcome back to Market Day Report. Let's talk about the livestock. That's what this livestock section is, and it's the last time we're going to see each other before this thing opens up again tomorrow morning, and I wear a cow jacket. So all those things mean we have to check in on these prices. Let's take a look at live cattle in Chicago and see what that board's got up behind my head, and it's mildly positive. Well, 15 cents lower in October. 180.02 is last, hanging on to that 180 line. I guess that's in the middle of the day's range. We've had about $1.45 of a range. Deese, that's up 7 cents, now just 5 cents as we kind of trade heavy going into the close. Deese stands at 184.22. There you go. That's live cattle. Feeder cattle, are we slipping back here towards that unchanged level? We are, and actually a little bit below. October's down a dime. 254.55 is last there. Nove's up a nickel. So you see the price action. Not a lot going on. Slipping back to unchanged on the day. Nove stands at 256.42. And then finally, lean hogs. What do we got going on? Lean hogs, that's a little higher. October's up 27 cents to 83.32, but it's still dangerously close to the lows by 17 cents. And we've got a D Sport up 72 cents, to 75.32. Let's bring back in Ted Seifried from Zaner. I almost said Ted Zaner. Ted Seifried from Zaner Ag Hedge. What are your thoughts here? I mean, fundamentals still look good. It seems to be really quiet and waiting for something maybe from the outside to knock it down.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like we have, some positive outside stuff on crude oil. I mean, that's sort of the canary in the coal mine when it comes to commodities. We just have nowhere to go right now. That worries me a little bit, cattle, because we're kind of getting past this secondary peak demand season of the summer. As we get through Labor Day, we really slow down as the temperatures start cooling off. Yes, we still have tailgate season. But yeah, if we start to see that domestic demand slip a little bit, box beef prices come down, that's going to put pressure on cash. That's my concern going forward. We did not have our midsummer correction like we are used to seeing. So does that mean we will have the early fall or mid-fall correction? We'll have to see. Hogs, that December and the October contracts are doing very different things today.
Right.
The October is well off the highs after hitting the 200-day moving average, kind of leaving us with a sort of a bad taste in our mouth here today. While the December holding on to some strength, there's still more volume in the October, though. So I think you have to give that chart a little bit more credence. But for the most part, we're pulling at straws here, Scott. It's been a very, very quiet day.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you brought up that tailgating season because I haven't said it all day, but I'm not going to let this go by. My boys, Colorado, beat TCU. It's prime time, so you can't miss that. Thanks for bringing it up. Ted Seifried, Zaner Ag Hedge in Chicago. Thanks for being on. We'll bring it back here to Nashville, and I'll throw it back over to you, Susan.